red, the red. Okay.
Ready? Okay. So good evening. I'm Officer Leah Ratliff with the Austin Police Department Public Information Office. Today at approximately 5:54 p.m., multiple 911 calls were received in reference to a shoot, stab, hotshot here in the 6400 block of East US 290 Highway ServiceRoad Westbound. That includes multiple 911 calls that were received advising that somebody had been shot. Austin police officers arrived on scene at approximately 5:56 p.m. and located a person with obvious signs of trauma. Austin police officers, as well as the Austin Fire Department and EMS personnel, performed life-saving measures, and the victim was transported by EMS to a local hospital. Unfortunately, the victim was pronounced deceased at the local hospital at 6:26 p.m. Detectives with the Austin Police Department Homicide Unit are currently assigned to the call and are actively conducting an investigation. Now, it is still very early on in the investigation, and it's an active investigation. However, detectives are advising that this does appear to be an isolated incident with no known threat to the public. However, as always, we are asking that the public remain vigilant, and to note that detectives are also still locating witnesses. So we are encouraging that if anyone has any information regarding this case, to please contact the homicide tip line at 512-477-3588, or to contact the Crime Stoppers line at 512-974-8477. And so, to summarize, we have one victim that was pronounced deceased at a local hospital. Because it's still so early on in the investigation, homicide detectives are not releasing any suspect information at this time. The information will be available just at a later time, like out of respect for the families. And also that this is being investigated as Austin's 57th homicide. So I'll take any questions.
With all the buildings and the businesses here, with anybody who was in there, was there any minor injuries? Anybody who may have been grazed or anything like that that you're aware of?
To my knowledge, there was one victim.
Do you have any information on the victim that you're releasing right now? Age, ethnicity, gender?
Actually, I spoke with homicide detectives, and there's not much information that they want to give out at this time because it is an active investigation. So any information demographic regarding the victim or any potential suspect is something that they're not releasing at this time, but it will be available at a later time.
Do we know how many shots were fired?
I do not know how many shots were fired. I can tell you that we got, there were multiple 911 calls, multiple callers calling in about multiple shots, but I don't have a number.
Is this an area that APD frequents, or is this fairly rare for this area?
To be honest with you, I work a little bit farther south on the east side, so I don't work quite this far north. I'm not 100% sure. I do believe it's like a business kind of complex kind of area.
The entire shopping center is blocked off. Is there a reason why this huge chunk of building is blocked off if the one deceased person was found in the parking lot? Is that correct?
I don't know if it's a parking lot, but it was kind of outside. I will tell you that it's typical for investigations, especially for like active scenes like this. We have a bigger crime scene and then we have a smaller one, so we like to go wide as far as possible. That way we're not missing anything.
Are you able to identify any specific particular business that may have been possibly where it started or maybe ended? We saw several officers in this area of this business. Are you able to identify that particular business for any reason?
I cannot identify the business.
The suspect isn't in custody, but there's not an immediate threat to the public. Do we believe that this was an isolated incident? Do you know if the victim and suspect knew each other?
We are believing at this time that it does appear to be an isolated incident with like no known threat to the public. As far as anything else like specific when it comes to like regards of any type of relationship, like I said, they're not releasing any type of information like at this time for suspect or victim.
Was there any firearms found at the scene? Any evidence that could help piece together what led up to this?
I actually do not know personally, but I will tell you that I was not one of the responding officers, but there were quite a few officers on scene, and the detectives are out here as well. So they would know that information if that was the case. Like I said, there's not much they're releasing at this time, but more information will be available after as they have time to make any type of notifications.
And last question from me, and I apologize if you said this a minute ago. There was quite a few DPS officers kind of on that end. Were they here just simply to assist, or what was their role in this?
I don't know, but most likely it was to assist. So sometimes when depending on the nature of the call, if they're available to assist on our bigger calls, and they definitely will, they can and will in the past have offered their assistance. So.
Can you show us the general area of where the victim was found?
I don't want to do that at this time, just out of respect of what the homicide detective's wishes.
For the cars in here, are they going to have to stay there as the investigation goes on, or are people going to be able to come in and out of this area?
I would check with, if your car is parked back there, I would check with the officers on perimeter just to see which cars are allowed to be released. I'm not sure. I know that if they're inside the crime scene tape, then you would be willing to talk to one of the officers there for it to be released. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, officer.